Hello. Ayan the baby. The baby. He talks every time I... The baby. Ba. Ba. Ah. I've been asked by many people, like, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I draw? There's a lot to it, but it's taken me a couple years to learn Sonic related stuff. I believe it's about 5 years now. I was I did not grow up as a Sonic fan, but when I got into it, I just study. I'm going to be doing an amalgam of tutorial over the course of this series, showing all of what I've learned so far. Of course, there are plenty room for improvement. So today we're going to start with the basics, the bones. Drawing Sonic characters means you have to understand their anatomy. They're very, very toony. They're very, very different than normal stuff. I'll be showing you here. So here is some of the points I'm going to be doing. So Sonic character bodies, right? Circles, lots of them, toony. One thing that I like to do is have goggles for eyes. Also refs are okay. I've actually used 3D models. If you look up like Sonic the Hedgehog 3D model, you can see a sketch fab of it, and that is like an easy way of like you could just turn it and there you got a ref, and it helps like understand the bodies and just how they work. So we'll be starting off with that. So we'll start out with the circle. We're gonna start with the head. I usually like to do like a plus sign. Plus sign usually, I always default to the 3/4 view, by the way, where it's like, if you see my head right here, this is 3/4 view. That's 3/4 view, where it's like you're seeing 3/4 of the face. When it comes to Sonic characters, or really any character, having doing the plus on the face is good. Like, it's like, oh, you roughly know where the eyes are gonna be from the face. When I took an art class in high school, the eyes are half of your entire face. Like, they're right in the middle of it. From here, I like to make another circle right here. That kind of like clicks right here. And this is gonna be the muzzle. That kind of represents his like face. We'll just be doing Sonic, but this could apply with any other character, like including Surge. Remember I said goggles? Yeah, so I make large goggles like this. It kind of helps me like figure out where the eyes in general are gonna go. If it's like Sonic, where it's one whole eye, I just like do this, and I do this, and then eyeball. That's kind of how I map it. If it's for someone like Surge, I do like, I just have it connect in the middle, and so that there's that little in between. So it really just depends on the character, but like that's my formula. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna have Sonic look at us. We're gonna move the middle part to where it's like facing us too. I like to do like cool little things where I have this little rim outside the middle of the eye and then color around it to show like shading. And then I like the scritches. I like the scritchy. I like a lot of textures in my work, I've noticed. It was an accident, I swear. It's an accident, but that's just how my style has been. Just, if you have trouble with sonic noses, and, this can really go with anything. I use the coil technique. The coil's just like that. You're just coiling. So I think I want my nose to start here, so and then just go along it, and then boom, we got nose. Now sonic eyebrows are really weird. Like, but when I started drawing Sonic, I could not for the life of me understand how to do eyebrows. I didn't understand it at all. Going from like drawing Gravity Falls stuff to Sonic was so jarring.
What's that?
So yeah, but it's really just you're not drawing like the eyebrow hairs, you're drawing the muscle. So keep that in mind. You're drawing the area around the muscle. It's like kind of the same way of like if you've ever drawn Super Saiyan 3 Goku, it's the same way. He loses his eyebrows, so they just draw the muscle instead. It's so weird, but it is what it is. For 3/4 view, I like to, like, this is where I have the ears. I don't really have a rhyme and reason. I just kind of like put it in this general area, and then where I think this is that part of like I can't exactly explain like what would be good for it. References definitely do help though. Study. I'm gonna make him smaller so I can kind of fit the rest of him in. And then from here, so starting from the base of like right before the eyebrow, like this is where his quills start, right? So we go, eh. Just however you feel. And then from here, this is where things go crazy. This is where things go crazy. So we're gonna want to do a circle here. And then another circle here. Or, I say circle, but it's more or less like this. So these are gonna be the bases of where the other quills. Like, what's the name of the things? What is the name? So the first one that's not above here, I start right at the ear. Go here. Try to make sure it like matches the first one that you made. I say as this one's entirely large, we're gonna just erase that bit. See, I'm not perfect either. I try. We're just gonna, you know, again, we could very well do the coil technique. And then do the same thing here. And boom, that's how you get a Sonic character. Now, as you can see, it's very messy. Um, Now, of course, I like to make kind of an oval shape, and I kind of do this like outward, outwardly pose, like I have them do this. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why. But that's like one of my favorite poses. I don't know why I do this, but it just looks very dynamic. That's just me. Um, but I usually kind of have, it's almost like an egg shape that I always like to do. Think of this area as, it's really good because like I think of this area, the torso, and then here, I kind of like form it into the waist, and then I just do the leg very skinny. I also gotta add the chest. I also like to add a quill in the back, just to kind of show that there are other quills other than the 3. Maybe I want to move this a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna make this smaller again because sometimes when I draw I like to consume the entire thing. So also his legs are very large, so I gotta like, I'm gonna do this. I like to think of their feet as triangles. Just triangles, or really hexagons. And then from there we can kind of like detail it. I'm using no rough right now. I'm struggling a little bit, actually. How long has it been since I've drawn a regular Sonic the Hedgehog? Now, of course, with the other arm, I'm just gonna like hide it into obscurity. Just kind of, I guess. But for the other arm, you know, we're gonna start here. I'll actually do this so you can see the arm. And then for hands, it is a little hard to do the hands, but because of how toony he is, there's this technique that I've done. It's called the mitten technique, right? Animators use this. So just what they do is they have the hand. They have like one finger in this, and then the rest of the fingers, they just kind of mitten. And then they kind of form it from there. It makes things a lot easier to handle. Usually this applies for like a 4-fingered thing, but you could use it for 5 as well. But yeah, it just depends. I'm gonna just have this. And this is where the mitten technique goes in. We also turn them into sausages. Also, they should not be this. They gotta do this. Again, this, like, if you're a beginner using 3D models for refs, of course, again, don't trace them, but reference them, have them side by side. Really, really, really helps. I do that with Surge sometimes. There is one particular thumbnail. There's one particular thumbnail that I did for Nick, and that one I actually had to go into my VR chat files and see some screenshots of her like side view so I could get a better reference, because I did that face like 7 billion times and I was having issues, and then I got a reference and all was well. So it does help. It does very much help. So now that also I gotta add that. So now that we have everything, I'm going to do that. We're gonna line this hacker. And with that, we've drawn our first Sonic character. I will also state that, like, you know, again, this was the 3/4 view, but this is basically how I draw Sonic characters, and how this is kind of my process. Also do note that, like, parts that are too obscure or too hidden, I've, you know, kind of just colored them. I've silhouetted them, like, made them completely black. I would have done some here at the quill that's, like, almost hidden. But, like, the hand's already doing that, so I didn't want them to kind of blend together, you know what I mean? So that's how I kind of did it. Let me also add this. But, you know, this part, is very much something you could do traditionally. By traditionally, I mean, like, of course, with pen and paper, you know, just non-digital drawing. um, but let's see how it looks like without all the scribbles. Oh, yeah, see, it's a good thing I did that because I missed bits. Another thing, this is the line art now, as you can see. A thing I also like to do when I'm in the line art stage is I like to go back and I like to see corners and see if I could just fill them in, give certain things depth, you know. Like I could do this just to kind of like make it look like it goes down here too. Like this like stems from the ear, and then the second one kind of like does that. Does that make sense? I don't know how to explain it. But like that's kind of my ruling on how I do things. When it comes to earlier, when it came to doing the mouth, I've noticed that people like Evan Stanley and whatever, they like to give a little bit more weight around the end of the mouth so that it shows that he's like grinning. But yeah. If you ever wanted to make him mad or angry, you could always just like lower this part. I can show you. If like you could just do this. And then highlighted the. Also, my cat's trying to get in the way. Like you, again, the eyebrows are probably the most difficult that I've noticed when I was drawing or learning how to do Sonic stuff. In the description, I will also be linking some things that I studied on. But yeah, this is not just pertain to Sonic 2. We'll also be using this for our next tutorial, which will also be coloring. We'll be doing the coloring stages of this next time. Thank you all for coming by, and please leave a like or and or subscribe. I'll be doing this probably weekly, giving out tips and tricks. Thank you all for watching.